But at any point, at any time, they could shut the whole cryptocurrency market down.
Follow-up question to talking about cash. Is that truly cash, money in the bank, or is that cash equivalents? What kind of holdings are you doing if it's cash equivalents to maintain liquidity and help offset inflation?
When I say cash, I mean we might have money in treasury bills or like other cash equivalents. So it's kind of cash or cash equivalents. So obviously, you know, it's not all in cash. We have a chunk in cash, and then other assets in, you know, treasuries and other cash equivalents, and can be easily converted to cash if needed. And so that's how we look at it, kind of our cash portfolio. So yeah, obviously it's not all just in cash.
Are you holding any cryptocurrencies in addition to cash?
No, we've always been fairly old-fashioned and conservative with crypto, so we never really... the only kind of crypto investment we made was... look, Marissa Mayer's husband is also Marissa Mayer and Marissa Mayer's husband, the CEO of Yahoo, are also young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. So when the founder of Chainlink was starting Chainlink, they were investing, and they came to Sandra and said, look, why don't you chuck $2 million in this? We really like the guy. So he did it just because his friends were doing it, and we didn't do much due diligence, and he didn't really care if he lost $2 million. And that investment obviously turned into about $400 million, so it wasn't such a bad investment. But we've exited a lot. We've gotten back a significant return there already and exited. So other than that investment, which we obviously did very well on, we haven't really been focused on crypto. We just never got into the craze. We never really totally... we looked at it kind of like as a Tulip bubble, like something whereby you and I could wake up tomorrow and say, hey, let's make cartoon money for children, and let's do a crypto launch of our cartoon money and say it's money for kids. And then we get everyone in the room believing cartoon money is real money. It really is, I'm telling you. And then everyone goes and buys it, and then we get it to go, you know, and it's just like a tulip bubble like you've never seen, but because everyone believed in it, it went up. But inherently, you know, we always looked at it as being very risky, and the central bankers were letting it run for various purposes. I think, you know, a lot of the three-letter agencies had Bitcoin is a digital currency. It has a footprint. So they encouraged the bad guys, go use Bitcoin, we can't trace you. Meanwhile, it's digital, it's 100% traceable. So they were tracking and tracing everything while they were telling everyone they couldn't. And they were getting a lot of intelligence information that was very valuable. So the only reason why the government and the central bankers let it run was for informational purposes. But at any point, at any time, they could shut the whole cryptocurrency market down and say, okay, there's only one cryptocurrency that's allowed, and it's our central bank-controlled currency, and this is a risk for... all it takes is one incident, right? And people are illegally buying drugs with this stuff, whatever it is. There's a million reasons why they could shut it down, and it just takes the desire or want to do it. So we don't really think, you know, the only longevity that we think cryptocurrency would have would be at the end of the game, after everyone's tried all these different methods, if the central bankers took over a cryptocurrency and said, okay, this is going to be money now. But other than that, we just don't see the long-term viability of a lot of the things that people were crazed over, and we just never really got into it because we're not into making, you know, short-term money on tulip bulbs. And that's not to say blockchain doesn't have applications, and that's not to say certain areas within crypto don't have applications. The same way as the internet had applications, but the same way as in, you know, 2001, most of the internet companies went bankrupt. Most of these cryptocurrencies are going to be out of business too in 10 years. So we just don't like to play those short-term games. We're kind of more long-term. I mean, Sandra was on the cover of Forbes and was called the Warren Buffett of Central America. And, you know, it was because we like buying value. We like owning real assets, and we like, you know, backing fund managers that either, if they're hedge funds, they're, they're not correlated to the market and they're managing risk, or, you know, if they're private equity, they're buying, you know, they're owning real assets. And that's just something that we, as a group, we feel more comfortable with.